Why is it that salespeople don't want to role play and practice? How can it help you? And what do you need to know? I'm Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento, California on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about you. So before we begin, hit that subscribe button. Real deal, practice, role play. It is the make or break for salespeople. And people will say, hey, Scott, I don't know if I necessarily believe that. I say, that's cool, no problem. Let's think through all the industries that have to role play and all the industries that practice. You can name them off. Almost all of them do for top earners. But here's what happens. If you're not role playing, you're not practicing, your word patterns aren't right. Your conversations don't feel right. Things don't work out for the buyer. So what happens is if you do ask for the money, you have problems with objections. You stumble, you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do. And at the end of the day, your buyer is looking for you to be a leader. Your buyer is looking for you to be the guy, the girl, even if they give objections to you, they can take the fire and go, no problem, I'll deal with it. I'll make this happen. Sales is all about leadership. Sales is about dealing with chaos. Sales is about dealing with problems. Sales is about saying, I understand you have a fear. Let me help you take care of that fear. You're going to be okay. In whatever way that you say it. But see, here's the thing. Most salespeople, they don't know that. They're not watching videos. They're not checking out podcasts. They're not investing themselves in buying their own books. They're waiting for their sales mommy or their sales daddy to do it, right? And the thing that sucks about that is if you're going to wait for somebody to train or somebody to coach you, you have to do it on somebody else's time. If you're paying and you're putting in your own dime, it's on whenever you want it. And sometimes it hurts. Like when I was coming up in sales, 2002, 2003, there was a Borders book. Borders books is about 2 miles from me. And I would take $50 every 2 weeks, $75 every 2 weeks, and I'd buy CDs because this was before like an iPod or MP3s were really easy to use and not be expensive. So I had these books of CDs in my work truck. And I would listen to these things 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. And people would say, hey, Scott, can I copy your CDs? I'm like, no, you don't have any skin in the game. Like some of these CDs that I have were $300 a set and I had to eat top ramen for a month. Like, no, I'm not doing it. You know where those salespeople are right now? They're not in sales. They're not doing it anymore because they didn't believe in being good at what they did. They wanted to skate. They wanted to make things as easy as possible. You want to be good at what you do, you're going to have to make things difficult. And dealing with objections, you're going to find the more that you practice, the easier they become. And what will happen is because you practice, this is the secret, right? Thanks for sticking around because this is the bonus tip. This is the secret when it comes to dealing with objections. If you can deal with objections, you typically don't get them. Like this is the ticket to the club. This is the story that nobody ever tells you. This is the thing that you need to know. If you're good at objections, you have a ton of confidence in your sales presentation. And I'm not saying be a jerk. I'm not saying be mean. But what happens is when somebody's like, I got an objection for you and you've practiced it enough, you're like, stop playing. No big deal. Here's the information. I was working with a company last week and they had me in front of a room and their guys are throwing objections at me left and right. Objection, objection, objection. And it's like, no big deal. Cool as a cucumber, sweating a little bit today from the lights, but cool as a cucumber, just answering objections, just like this, just like we're talking. Like it's not that big of a deal. I've sat through enough sales presentations to see the top closers in finance, in home sales, insurance, car sales. They're all like, not that big of a deal. Right? Somebody gives them an objection, they're like, yeah, okay, no big deal. We'll take care of it. Salespeople who don't practice freak out. And because they freak out, that proves to the buyer that they're a fraud. And because they're a fraud, they got a discount, they got a price match, and they got to chase deals. Now, don't get me wrong. The closers that I know, they still follow up. They still do everything they can to get that lead to close it, but they close at a higher propensity with the people that they're with because they have the confidence, because they role play, because they practiced, because they had the conversation, and because they belong. If you really want to be good in sales, you have to role play, you have to practice, you have to put in the time, the work, the energy, the effort. My magic number that I say is about 200 presentations before you're like, I feel confident with pitch, tone, pace, pacing, the way that I got to say stuff, the way that I got to work. I take out all the ums and the ahs. I take out all the words that really don't belong there. And it just feels natural. Top salespeople, when you talk to them, doesn't matter how weird the situation gets for the most part, they just talk back and forth. And what will happen is a brand new salesperson will ride with a closer and they will not see what's going on. They won't see the timing, the pace, the pitch, the tone. And they'll say, well, I saw this guy do that and I can't do it myself. He must be a liar. He must be a cheat. He must be a fraud. If you've role played a line, like it's not a sales call, it's a performance. You can't outwork me. You can only underbid me. If you've done that 1,000 times, it feels natural to the buyer. If you say it's not a sales call, it's a performance, the buyer picks up and goes, your word patterns are off. I've talked to you for an hour and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel natural. There you go. You really want to be good at sales. The real conversation you have to have is you got to role play, you got to practice, you got to put in the time, you got to put in the energy, you got to put in the effort. And the good news for you is your competition's lazy. They won't do it. 6 out of 10 salespeople won't make it after 5 years. You really want to be good at sales? Do what the other people aren't willing to do. Go do some work. Go close some deals. You got one thing to do from here, just one thing. Find the subscribe button, click on it every time I send out a video. You'll get an update. This is Scott Bell Consultants and another fantastic video. Probably from a cool location. Today I'm in Sacramento, California. We'll see you soon. Thanks for dropping by. Aloha.